Hey there, folks. It's me, Slick, and I'm here in the shed. Welcome. Thank you for taking a little bit of time, spend it with me. I just wanted to give you a quick introduction. Actual name is Cole, and the whole purpose of this channel is supposed to be partially entertainment, partially learning on behalf of me, and I'm expecting for some of you all as well. If not, maybe just kind of keep you sharp and brush you up a little bit on some things that you did know. This is all supposed to be knowledge sharing, right? And the channel is going to be specific to working on automotive type repairs, restoring vehicles, refurbishing them, overhauling them, getting them roadworthy again, and everything in between. But you might also see me do something in the shed as far as, oh, I'm doing some fabrication project, or I'm doing welding on something, or I'm doing some carpentry. Literally, it could be anything under the sun. I've got so many different projects that I'm working on, and that is my passion. This is what I have fun doing, is working on things, fixing things. I get a kick out of doing that. And I figured, you know what, if I'm going to be spending the time doing that stuff anyway, might as well video it and let somebody else see it. Maybe they enjoy doing it. Maybe they want to learn about what I'm doing. And, you know, if this is your passion, this is what you want to follow. People always say you're supposed to follow your heart and do what makes you happy, then, well, why don't I try it? I see other people be able to do it. I'll try it. Regardless, I am as excited as heck to be here and to share what I'm doing with you. I hope you enjoy it. Stick along for the ride. Let's get into it. So, quick background story for this project vehicle. This is a 1968 Mustang convertible. This is actually my grandparents' car. I remember them getting this when I was a younger guy, maybe 2003 or so. My grandfather's done a little bit of work to it as far as like replacing the floor pans, things like that. Maybe some general maintenance like oil changes and whatnot here or there, but past that, it hasn't been touched. It's been in the family since. It hasn't run since maybe 2019. I've been working on it since March of 2024, just trying to get it running and driving again. Grandparents haven't had a lot of time in their older age to be able to drive it as much as they'd like, and my parents have actually taken an interest. They are going to drive this pretty much weekly, so it's been a project for me to try to piece everything back together, get it roadworthy, refurbish as much as I can, and moreover, drivable, so that it is safe and it's going to look great. It's going to perform exactly how it should. So more to follow. It's going to be an awesome project. I was thinking today maybe we work on a little bit of engine related stuff, a little bit of drivetrain. So what I had in mind is maybe we drop the oil out of that 289 because I got a leak around what I think is the oil pan in the rear. So I got a new pan for that. I did some welding to the original pan, try to piece things together. It's more of a budget-friendly build as much as it could be anyway. But this is something that's just not something I want to live with, not something that I think is commensurate with the rest of the build. We sent this engine off to be, refurbished, right? We got many things done with the heads. It has mostly all new internal components. Shoot, if not all. So why would I skimp out just on the pan? I'm not sure if we'll get the new pan on today, but at least we'll get the engine drained. We'll get all the old gasket material off. And as far as drivetrain goes, we got to swap out some U-joints. I got a new slip yoke to put on the OEM drive shaft. So stay tuned, it's coming. I am doing this like an absolute goof, but I know I can't be the only guy on here who has a hobo freight engine crane. Please tell me if I'm setting this up wrong or if I'm making it more difficult on myself than it really needs to be. Because I tell you what, it's a real pain in the butt trying to just get the legs out on this thing every single time you need it. I mean, I'll do it. Doesn't mean I'll like it. Notice it takes a certain amount of technique. Once you get the first one in, the second one's not bad. It's just that first one will get you. Notice I use this bar as leverage. There's two. I couldn't imagine a young kid getting that done all by themselves. It's not light. Alright, now it looks like I might know what I'm doing, just a little, not a lot. Alright, gingerly move your engine. Goal is not to hit your car with the engine. See, I told you she was leaking a little bit. To be honest with you, first time I took a look, I was very concerned that it was something having to do with the rear main seal, but as far as I can tell, yeah, right here in the bottom, where our oil pan seal is, actually. But reference earlier to when I was telling you that I did a couple of repairs to the pan itself. Well, it was more so along the flange area. Had a couple of pinholes and rusted that up, or sorry, that was rusted out, and I welded that back up. Ground everything down flush best I could, and, you know, figured that the gasket could make up for any slightly uneven surfaces, and it just, yeah, it might be original to this engine, but if the rest of the engine's already been gone through and basically refurbished, why skimp on the pan? You got to take a certain amount of pride in your work, and that's something shoot, if it's leaking, might as well. That's all I'm saying. Alright, that took quite a bit longer than it should have, but the trick well, there's no trick, but the process to getting this together would begin with getting two of those bolts in there first. Just work on that. The rest will fall into place. All right, I'll be honest with you because I am not above admitting fault. That took a solid 20 minutes when it probably should have taken a solid 5. I definitely spent at least 3 of those minutes trying to get a bolt into a dowel pin hole because I wasn't paying enough attention. Hey Cole, didn't you just put oil in it? Sure did. All right. Now let me clarify. I wouldn't call myself a cheapskate. Like I said earlier, budget build, and oil is not necessarily cheap. Break-in additives or break-in oil if that's what you choose to use. If you're using a flat tappet camshaft with hydraulic lifters, it'd be nice to have that additive or that type of oil. If you're using all that, costs additional, right? So, bought myself a new oil catch pan. Yeah, I'm gonna save this oil and reuse it, okay? Believe it or not. Bet you this would be a lot lighter when all that oil is out of there. Let's get this cleaned up. Okay. So, here's our drive shaft. Notice there. See that portion of the ear there? Bust it off. It's because of yours truly. Trying to swap out the old U-joints. What you're not supposed to do is clamp the drive shaft itself into the vise. You can clamp on the ears. That shouldn't be an issue. Lucky for me, I made myself a little access port right there for the screwdriver. Yeah, don't do that.
What are you up to today?
Working on this drive shaft now. I got the engine back on the stand too, so I could drain it, and I mean I got the plug out of it right now. It's draining. And then past that, I don't know. Whatever I can get done.
Go get the coffee boy. While you're getting wound up.
There you go. Hey, what's up everybody? Slick back here in the shed. Another day of working on the projects. Since it's still, I think it's March 1st today. It's maybe like high of 30 degrees outside. The concrete keeps the whole building quite chilly, especially overnight. You don't have a fire going in the burner there. This wood-fired burner, by the way, so we're just stoking that bad boy. Anytime you want to be out here for an extended period of time, take a little bit of the chill off of you. It's probably like 55 degrees in here at all times if you got this thing running. Just about perfect, right? If you're wearing an overshirt anyway. So just figured I'd give you a quick show of, oh hey, yeah, this is how we get this bad boy going. Like I said, this is my Gramps' shed, and ever since I was a kid, this has been probably my favorite part of the entire shed. Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm a little bit of a pyro, sure, but who doesn't love cozying up next to a nice toasty fire in the middle of the winter? It's also a good teaching tool. I'm pretty sure this is where I learned my first concept of, hey, that's hot, don't touch it. Always be aware of that at all times. On the side of the wood burner that you can see, wouldn't be there now, of course, because this would have been, I don't know, like 20 years ago when it happened, but I'm walking around talking to Gramps, whatever. Little me throws my gloved hand on the side of that burner just to lean on, and yeah, that thing melted like that. And I learned in a hurry to be aware of what is hot and what is not. All right. Carpenter ants really got into that one, didn't they? It'll burn. There we go. Maybe don't waste the MAP gas. If you got the propane, use the propane. Okay. Maybe we do use the MAP gas, because that one's actually got a good lighter. All right. Let that go for a while we're moving here. There. And as it starts to build, need less oxygen, guy will just close her over a bit. You get a little bit too hot, close her down a bit, all adjustable. Okay, so one of the primary things I wanted to do today was be able to flip that engine over. Got us new old coal stock pan gasket. We're going to throw on the bottom with our newly painted pan. And we'll see what we get to next. Let's start there. This is not the easiest thing in the world to flip over, even when it's just the block, let alone when everything is on it. So wish me luck. It's very heavy. Set this greasy pin over there. All right. Which way do we want to go? Clockwise? Sure. Just firmly grasp it. Everything's bolted on there, right? Okay. Bit dramatic, yeah, maybe, but I ain't joking you. It's very heavy. A lot of bolts though. Tell you what, whatever you can afford, whatever you can get, if you can get yourself an electric ratchet, I mean, they're pretty cheap from Hobo Freight and save you a lot of time on something like this with a lot of bolts. Yeah, all right. Would also be a good idea, get yourself a little container, whatever you got handy. Oh, hey, little box will do. Throw your hardware in there so you don't lose it. You'd be surprised. Shipping and cost for replacement bolts, unless you're going to the hardware store, of course, to replace some of this stuff is egregious. That's putting it mildly. All right. Let's get this bad boy off, huh? Just put this on. Yep, there she goes. Get you in a little bit closer. There. Ta-da! Very nice. All right, first plan here is to get these seals from the front and the rear out because we have replacements with the new gasket. A portion of it got stuck underneath. See that there? Not sure that would make a whole heck of a lot of difference really whatsoever. But it's not something that I want to chance either. Now, I also mentioned I'm not a huge fan of the traditional cork gasket, but like I said, budget build. It should still work just fine, and in my experience they do if you assemble them correctly. All right, so you see that we got the new seals in and then the new pan gaskets in there. You're gonna have to take my word for it. Put a little bit, like I said, of that black silicone gasket sealant, and then I was able to slide those gaskets. They got a little tang, if you will, on the end there. So on each side, they should be able to slide right in there. Makes for a decent seal, all right? Now, to note, the torque spec that I read online, somebody got from an old shop manual for a 67, 289, is between 9 to 11 foot-pounds. So, and in no specific order either, but I will show you what I've done so far. Yeah, that new pan's making a good seal. All right, let's get this all back together. There we go. All right. Let's do this in 2 stages. Now, torque spec said 9 to 11. That was in 1967, so I'm sure 1 extra foot-pound wouldn't mind. I would like to be able to do this in a 2-stage sequence, so I am going to start at 10. and go up to 12. Like I said, start in the middle, both sides. I'll hop here, there, and then work your way out. Maybe I go to the right from here, here, there. Go back to the left, here, there, so on and so forth. There's 10. Same thing here. There. Now we'll hit up to the left. Okay, now we move it up to 12 and do it all over again, and then call it good. All right, so at this point, got the new pan on there. I'm gonna flip this engine back over, kind of tuck it out of the way, and I figured next thing we ought to do is get the engine bay prepared, ready for this engine and transmission to be able to slip back in there. So I'm figuring what we should do is, even though earlier I tried to pressure wash that thing out, most of that grease and all that debris that's stuck onto the power valve for the power steering and on the steering linkage, unless I want to sit in there and just scrub with a wire brush for quite a while, I'm sure, the best thing to do is probably throw some degreaser on that and then hit it with that power washer again after that's set for a while. So we'll do that. I'll probably hop in here and give this like a quick wire wheel down, get some of that surface rust off there. And what I really wanted to do was end up just throwing some black spray paint back on there. Kind of bring it back around a little bit, and we'll see what it looks like at that point. Let's get into it. You can see what I'm talking about as far as, you know, power valve down there, pretty much greasy. I mean, you can see a couple of bare spots where the power washer kind of did something, but it just didn't have enough oomph to it. Not alone anyway, so I figure, okay, use a little bit of the degreaser. Let that sit on there. There we are. Make our jobs a little bit easier. Plus, there's just grease everywhere in here that power washer was just not able to get on its own. So let's help it out a little bit. I'm not saying it has to be spotless or anything, but there's no sense in working in a dirty work area. Clean it up. Why would you go through the effort of, you know, restoring an engine, getting everything rebuilt, painting it, taking care of it, only to put it back into a dirty engine bay? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Couldn't hurt to agitate things with a brush if you got it either. Be careful of any of your seals or rubber parts that you do not want to damage unless you're ready to replace those. And specifically, I'm talking about like these boots and all of your joints. Like I said, once we're through with this, get this cleaned up again, we can go through here with a wire wheel in the engine bay before we would do any type of paint. And I think for the level of build that we're doing, that's just fine. You know, there's nothing like getting a good angle on something. Sometimes best way to do it is to just get in there, I guess. Well, here I am. All right, since it's maybe 32 degrees outside, I am not going to film this entire thing. It's more of a get in, get out kind of deal, you know what I'm saying? All right. All right, got completed. And what a difference that makes. I mean, if you'll remember before, I was really worried about that power valve. It's not that huge of a deal. It's just, you know, like I said, why would you put something all nice, new and clean into a dirty engine bay, right? Obviously it's still wet at this point. Waiting for everything to dry out a little bit before I can throw some paint on there. But I mean, just, you know, letting that degreaser sit on there for a bit. Go over it with the pressure washer again. I mean, this is the cleanest I've ever seen this specific engine bay. And is it perfect? No, but you got to consider how long are you going to spend on your given projects. If you got a lot of them, you know, and you're trying to get these things driving again, what's the priority, right? How far do you want to go? You could always make the argument, well, if I'm going to do this, then I might as well do this, or I might as well do that. But you got to draw your own lines, and this is the line for me. This is about where I want it to be. At this point, I want it to dry up. We're going to go through and we are going to seal it with some paint. Obviously, things like this battery tray, yeah, definitely could be replaced. Needs to be replaced. Not happening right now. It's going to get, you know, wire wheeled a little bit more and a fresh coat of paint. And at some point here in the future, when will that be exactly? I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll replace it. But just not a super high priority. Want to get that engine and transmission back in there. That's the thing. Step by step. All right, folks, that'll do it for this one. More exciting content to come. Stick with me. I know you'll enjoy it. And remember, this is my first time doing anything related to editing, filming, etc. So it is only going to get better from here. I hope you've enjoyed it so far, and I hope you continue to enjoy it and spend some time with me. Thank you.